Hello, I'm Esther Gidhu. It's Tuesday, July 4th. This is Africa 54.
Senegal President Macky Sall says he will not run for re-election in the 2024 elections, ending widespread speculation that he would seek a third term. We'll have a report and reaction from Senegal. Amnesty International says security forces, separatist rebels and ethnic militiamen have committed atrocities in a troubled region in Cameroon, including executions, torture and rape. And in our health report, consumers, food companies, retailers and restaurants will have to decide whether to fight back or find alternatives to one of the world's most common artificial sweeteners as WHO prepares to declare it a possible carcinogen. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54.
We begin our broadcast in Senegal, where President Macky Sall ended a widespread speculation that he would seek a third term. In a televised address Monday evening, Sall said he will not be on the 2024 ballot, which his critics said would have been illegal. Almond Lee has more.
Senegal President Macky Sall said on Monday he will not seek a third term in an upcoming election, an action his critics said would have been illegal and which had sparked fits of violent unrest.
I know that my decision not to stand as a candidate will come as a surprise to the many people whose sincere admiration, trust and loyalty I know. It will also surprise those who wish to see me continue to guide the construction of Senegal, which is increasingly finding its feet. Senegal is bigger than I am, and it's full of leaders equally capable of pushing the country towards emergence.
The announcement put to bed months-long speculation that Sall would extend his ruling. On Monday, he was still insisting a re-election would have been lawful, citing a 2016 constitutional amendment. Rumors of Sall planning to stay in power and the recent jailing of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko over an alleged rape sparked protests in Senegal, which is known to be one of Africa's most stable countries. Some rioters torched buildings and vehicles. Dozens of people have been killed in the unrest, with some protesters alleging that police fired live rounds. Meanwhile, in the capital of Dakar, reactions to Sall's decision was mixed. Opposition supporter Mohamed Al Fall was relieved.
We need a president who takes pity on the Senegalese. We need a president who doesn't kill his people. We need a president who listens to his people.
This Sall supporter said she believed the president should have served another term because, quote, he has every right to do so, but she respects his decision. Sall's party, Alliance for the Republic, now needs to look for a new leader before the February elections. It is unclear who will run for many of the main parties.
Almond Lee of Reuters filed that report. For more on President Sall's speech and reaction, I'm joined live via Skype from Dakar, Senegal, by Hawa Ba, Bureau Chief, Open Society Initiative for West Africa. Hawa, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther.
The president has cleared the air now. What's the reaction first from the opposition and his supporters?
Well, we have mixed reactions. One of them being that that's the least that can be expected from a president is to abide by his constitutional provisions and to respect the law. And that we don't need to praise him for not running for a third term, but instead praise the Senegalese citizens who have stood on his way and who has reaffirmed their belief in democracy and strong support for constitutionalism. But you will see, there are some opposition leaders who are, like many Senegalese, relieved that he is not seeking for a third term, and his supporters, on the other hand, many of them are disappointed in this array, especially that we are 8 months away of the election, and that the party is going to have some challenges to find a candidate.
So the opposition leader, Usman Sonko, has now listened to the speech of the president. What is his reaction? What does he say is going to be his next political move?
He did anticipate and proactively address the nation the day before the presidential address, calling his supporters to be vigilant, and in case of the president doesn't run, to still remain mobilized to defend his candidacy. As it stands now, he's disqualified because of 2 court cases that have been resulted in sentencing him and disqualifying him for being a candidate. So he believes that whatever the decisions is for the president to run or not to run, he wants to politically kill him, to politically prevent him from being a candidate. So as it stands, he wants his supporters to come out and protest and defend his candidacy.
So with the president just having 8 months before he leaves office, what can he do? First, to fix the economy. Secondly, to mend fences with the opposition.
Yes, I think the time is too short now for the economy to fix it. But I think what he can do is at least to leave a legacy of strengthening democracy, mainly in ensuring that we have free and fair elections, making sure that weaponization of law of justice to eliminate candidate is out of the way, to allow all candidates that are constitutionally qualified to run for president, and one of them being, of course, Usman Sonko, and to making sure that the rule of the games are fair for equal opportunities for all candidates to participate, and that we have free and fair elections on February 24th. I think that the biggest legacy, the second biggest legacy, is to restore some trust between the justice systems and citizens, because there is a breakdown of trust between citizens and institutions in general, and mostly the justice system, which is considered as being instrumentalized by the executive branch for political reasons. And then I think the third thing that he can do is to restore a serene atmosphere in the country of peace, of stability, especially in the context of a region that is facing turmoil and all kinds of challenges in terms of security-wise.
Hawa, thank you very much for your perspective. Hawa Ba is Bureau Chief, Open Society Initiative for West Africa. Heavy fighting raged Tuesday across the Sudanese capital, where witnesses reported a fighter jet being shot down and artillery and machine gun fire rocking several neighborhoods. A source from the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces said the RSF had shot down the Sudanese Armed Forces jet. In a statement, the RSF said they arrested the pilot after he landed with a parachute. A witness in Omdurman, located across the river from Khartoum's city center, also reported heavy clashes using various types of weapons. Others said they could see airstrikes in the area of the state television building, where the RSF had launched an attack this week and fired anti-aircraft weapons on Tuesday. Amnesty International says security forces, separatist rebels and ethnic militiamen have committed atrocities in a troubled region in Cameroon, including executions, torture and rape. In a report issued Tuesday, the organization found new evidence of abuses in the country's northwest region, one of 2 western regions where Anglophone militants declared independence from the majority Francophone state in 2017. The new investigation sheds light on militias in the northwest region that are drawn from the Bororo community Fulani herders with a long history of conflict with farmers. The report says as a result, civilians are caught between the army, armed separatists and militias.
I just pray that the dialogue should go well, and I thank the president for putting this dialogue. Yes, because with the dialogue, I know the crisis will soon end and peace will come. Everybody will go back to his village.
Amnesty said the report was based on 2 missions in November 2022 and March 2023, in which its investigators spoke to more than 100 victims of crimes, as well as journalists and human rights activists. 3 sub-Saharan African migrants have been arrested as suspects in the stabbing death of a local man in Tunisia's coastal city of Sfax. Sfax, Tunisia's second largest city, is a departure point for many migrants hoping to reach Italy, and tensions have been rising there for months. A spokesman for the Sfax prosecutor said the victim, in his early 40s, was fatally stabbed late Monday during a scuffle between local residents and migrants from sub-Saharan Africa. He said 3 suspects from Cameroon had been arrested. Parades, picnics, and concerts are being held across the United States Tuesday as the nation celebrates the 247th signing of the Declaration of Independence, which signaled the American colonies' break with Britain. Richard Green shows us 2 very different celebrations of the annual holiday.
Wildest and strangest 4th of July events takes place at the famed Coney Island Amusement Park in New York City.
100 pounds, ladies and gentlemen.
Dozens of contestants from all over the world take part in Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest. The title says it all. Contestants try to eat as many of the sandwiches as possible in just 10 minutes. Joey Chestnut, who set the world record in 2021 by eating 76 hot dogs in one sitting, is seeking his 16th title in competition.
I'm extremely lucky to be part of an amazing event like this. I really love to eat hot dogs. I love 4th of July, and I'm just happy.
Do you feel good after that?
Well, you know what? I feel amazing. You know, there's you can't feel really happy unless there's some suffering involved. And like eating this many hot dogs, it's not comfortable, but winning, eating in front of thousands and thousands of people on the 4th of July, it really makes it some of the best feeling I could ever have.
A more traditional celebration will be held in Washington, D.C. with the annual A Capital 4th concert on the National Mall. The nationally televised event will be hosted by television actor and presenter Alfonso Ribeiro.
I wanted to be involved because it really is an honor, right? It is a show that is a true honor to be able to host. We're celebrating America's birthday for the 43rd time for this show, but 247th birthday. And we have such a great group of artists and people that are involved in this show. But we're also going to have we're celebrating our military, our frontline workers. We have a hit from the International Space Station. I mean, it's a very, very cool show.
The show will end with a traditional fireworks display in the night sky over the Potomac River. Richard Green, VOA News.
For more on America's Independence Day, I'm joined live via Skype from downtown Washington, D.C. by VOA's Anthony Labruto. Anthony, tell us how Americans are celebrating this very special holiday.
Hi, Esther. Yes, Americans are celebrating this special holiday by coming here to the National Mall right here in the Capitol. Now, so you see the Washington Monument a little bit behind me, and our Capitol is right in front of us. But this is the perfect space where Americans can come together and celebrate each other. Now, this really is one of the great unifying events that we have here in the country. You know, Americans typically, Americans are a nation of immigrants, and there's no one American story. And so they come together to really celebrate each other and celebrate the rights and freedoms that this country has afforded them.
Anthony, can you describe the ambience for us where you are? Any bands around there? Any concerts going on?
Yes, so this is my first time in Washington, D.C. for our nation's celebration. And there is a lot of excitement building. Now, just behind me, too, there's going to be a parade happening later this afternoon. There are several bands practicing just off screen. This really is an exciting, exciting time. More and more people have started coming into the National Mall to celebrate and to watch this parade, and as well as the other events happening this afternoon.
Most of us are still here in the office. So how is security, Anthony, like around the Capitol?
Now, so as we have started setting up here, security has gotten a little more tight. The roads have been closed in front of us, as well as on Independence Avenue where our studios are. There are significantly more police around us in anticipation for more people coming later this afternoon and this evening. And a lot of the security, too, also won't be seen. There's a lot of many people in the federal agencies, as well as officers walking around just to make sure everyone's safe and having a good time.
Anthony, before we let you go, I like what I'm seeing on the screen there. But what's planned for tonight when the sun goes down?
Now, the big celebration happening tonight will be the fireworks. So this will be happening tonight at around 9 p.m. and this over the Potomac River. And this really is the crowning celebration of the 4th of July celebrations here in Washington, D.C. There's also going to be several notable performances, like Boys to Men performing here. There's also going to be the National Symphony Orchestra performing in front of the Capitol, just off screen here, as well as the National Military Band. It's going to be a very, very exciting afternoon. There's also going to be regional celebrations like the Ozarks Festival that is celebrating the American Midwest, as well as the parade here.
And a lot of food to be eaten today. Barbecue, all of that stuff. Anthony, thank you very much for joining. And VOA's Antonella Bruto, live for us from downtown Washington, D.C. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, the world's most common artificial sweeteners could be declared a possible carcinogen. Stay with us.
This week on Straight Talk Africa, the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down affirmative action programs for university admissions in the United States. Will those affected turn to the country's historically black colleges and universities? This week, we'll look at HBCUs, how they're breaking new ground and building new bridges between the United States and African countries, and why one university is now teaching American students to speak Africa's indigenous languages. Join me, Heidi Adams, on the next Straight Talk Africa.
In other African news, Egypt has begun a $1.8 billion program to drill natural gas exploration wells in the Mediterranean Sea and Nile Delta. The program is in cooperation with Eni, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Shell, and BP. The aim is to drill 35 exploration wells within 2 years, 21 in the current 2023-2024 financial year, and 14 in the next year. Kenya's President William Ruto has lifted a 6-year ban on logging over the concerns of environmentalists. The president said it was foolish to have mature trees rotting in forests while local industries lacked timber. Ruto said his government has decided to open up the forest and harvest timber to create jobs for Kenyan youth. And rains eased last week in most of Ivory Coast's main cocoa-growing regions after weeks of downpours that had flooded plantations. Ivory Coast, the world's top cocoa producer, is in its rainy season, which runs from April to mid-November. Cameroonian-American Elizabeth Nintai is the recipient of the title of 4th Princess of Miss Africa USA. She uses her platform to share her personal journey and advocate for the empowerment of women as they discover their true, authentic selves. She joined red carpet host Jackson Bunganyi to talk about her journey, the relevance of beauty pageants, and what the 4th of July celebrations mean to her.
Make the case for beauty pageants.
Okay.
Why are beauty pageants important
right.
in this day and age?
So beauty pageants are important. Again, it's important to know which one you chose, right? Because number one, that's an opportunity for you to bring your platform to a much bigger audience. I mean, there are people who have built huge nonprofits that are benefiting so many people from beauty pageants because they had the boldness to step up there and say, this is what I truly believe in and this is my plan. And with the right support, it grew. However, it's been misinterpreted. Absolutely. There's a flip side of it where people think like I'm competing to be.
Objectify is the word.
Right.
Objectify.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I really think that coming in with that authentic message, and that's something that only you know. Nobody can read it.
Absolutely.
You know in your heart if your message is authentic. Personally, as a 33-year-old, a mother of 2, I'm not here to be like the prettiest woman on earth. Like that doesn't really.
But you have a message.
I have a message.
And the story.
And
the journey that you want to share.
Yes.
And this is the platform that you want to use.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
What does 4th of July mean? Like, as a person that served in the army, what does that mean for you?
So that's a big celebration, generally speaking, right? First of all, Americans love 4th of July. I feel like that's like the favorite holiday. In the Army specifically, we focus more on like Veterans Day because, again, that's very geared towards our own, right? We're taking the time to appreciate our own. 4th of July, if you ask me, is just a big barbecue day for people to have an excuse to grill and eat. But again, it doesn't take away from the history behind it, the authenticity, the work that all those people put in order to give the independence that comes with the 4th of July.
Absolutely.
So,
and the things that we enjoy.
Absolutely.
Just to be enjoying the freedom.
Yes, just being here and being able to celebrate, being able to even be here as a Black woman and share my message. So I would say this, soldiers, especially soldiers in the Army, we're very passionate about what we do because the Army is one of the branches that truly tests you. Your resilience. How much can you stay out there in the field with no food, no water, away from your family? For what purpose?
Serving a greater cause than yourself.
Serving a greater cause.
Yeah.
So days like this makes you realize like, wow, it's not a waste. Days like 4th of July makes you see the beauty in everybody is free, everybody is happy. What I'm doing is adding to society and adding to the freedom of my family, of my kids being able to run around, right, in just happiness. So that's the beauty of 4th of July when it comes to the military standpoint.
Cameroonian American Elizabeth Nintai speaking to VOA's red carpet host Jackson Mvungani. It's time for our health segment, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Lino Mudu. Hello, Lino.
Hello, Esther. It's good to be here. Hello, everyone. Well, let's start in Egypt, where the official news agency has reported that the North African country is set to become one of the first countries in the world to be declared free of hepatitis C, according to a World Health Organization official. Dr. Naima Al-Kassir, the WHO's representative for Egypt, says the country has submitted papers declaring it free of the disease, and an announcement will be made by the Geneva-based health organization in the coming weeks. The World Health Organization is sounding the alarm on the deteriorating health conditions in parts of the DRC due to conflict. WHO data show that since March 2022, almost 3 million people have been forced from their homes in the eastern part of the country, in North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri provinces. And since mid-March, the DRC has been experiencing an average of 1,000 cholera cases per week. To date, more than 25,000 people have been infected and over 150 have died. Dr. George Castida is Senior Emergency Officer of the World Health Organization.
There has been a huge, repetitive, and very difficult increase of displacement, with a total of 7.4 million in DRC that are in need of assistance. There is this increasing malnutrition and this increasing gap between the needs and the assistance. So the whole UN system, humanitarian system, decided on the 16th of this month to do a 3 months scale up for everybody in order to improve the actions of the different partners there.
A measles vaccination campaign is planned for the coming days, according to the WHO. Consumers, food companies, retailers, and restaurants need to decide whether to fight back or find alternatives to one of the world's most common artificial sweeteners, as a leading global health body prepares to declare it a possible carcinogen. Flora Bradley-Watson reports.
Could drinking diet sodas, chewing gum, and eating yogurt lead to cancer? The World Health Organization is set to label aspartame, an artificial sweetener found in these products, a possible cancer risk. But will consumers be willing to kick the habit?
It seems like everything causes cancer these days.
I always knew it kind of like tastes funny.
I'd rather even have sugar instead of aspartame.
Discovered in 1965 by an American chemist and approved by the FDA 9 years later, aspartame is about 200 times sweeter than regular table sugar. It has almost 0 calories, so became popular with increasingly diet-conscious consumers. Shoppers can find it in everything from Weight Watchers yogurts to some Snapple drinks and Mars's extra chewing gum.
It's convenient for companies to kind of construct what we call a health halo around some of these products.
Noah Pramsma is a nutrition education coordinator with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.
Unfortunately, in this case, as you dig a little deeper, you realize that sometimes something like a diet soda might not quite be the health food that we might have hoped.
Food companies now need to decide whether to fight back against the labelling, ignore it, or find alternative sweeteners to use. However, recent recipe tweaks by soft drinks giant PepsiCo demonstrate the struggle of balancing health concerns with taste. PepsiCo removed aspartame from sodas in 2015 only to bring it back a year later and then remove it again in 2020.
The consumer taste is a very, very difficult thing to get right.
Here's Adam Coons, a portfolio manager at Winthrop Capital Management.
We do see, the big soda manufacturers like Pepsi and Coke changing their formula over time. Now, this takes time because you can't just say, hey, we're going to replace one sweetener with another. Taste is what drives the majority of the sales with one manufacturer over another.
Reuters sources say the International Agency for Research on Cancer, an arm of the WHO, will list aspartame as a possible carcinogen in July, putting it in the same category as lead and some pesticides. However, the IARC has 2 more serious categories, probably carcinogenic and carcinogenic. The latter category includes tobacco and alcohol. Analysts say, like with smoking, it could be a while before a behaviour shift is seen.
The consumer will continue to do something that they know is somewhat harmful to their health for quite a while. It takes a big shift. I mean, we saw it in cigarettes. Everyone knows that it causes cancer, yet there's still a product, right?
That's all for today. Esther?
Thank you, Lino. And that's all from us from Africa 54. Have a good night.